Hi guys, I'm just breaking off from the Mercury 4 build just to do something very small and very quick. Inspired by the rubber powered Freeflight models down at Winner's Perch last week, I'm going to put together a little rubber powered model of my own. This I found online. It's called a Scraps. So this is the size of it. It's really small. And it's made from basically from 1/16 balsa, and I think I can find a scrap of that. So I'm going to have a quick go at this and we'll see how we get on with flying it and trimming it and stuff, just for a bit of fun. So it should only take me a few weeks to build. A dive in the scrap box, 1 hour's work, and you have this fun little flyer. Just a job for circus and bumps around the parlour to add to the Christmas fun. So I'll build the fuselage first. I don't want to do that. I'm keen to have a go at building the wing first. Should turn left in about 8-foot circles, it says. That's a bit of fun. I've just dug out this old chipmunk box, guys, and I don't know why, but I keep scrap wood like this, so it's a bit of fun. So I'm going to use that scrap wood to make this little Scraps aeroplane. And I've got 1/16 square. I'll just strip down some 1/16 off of this, and I should be able to cut the ribs out of it as well. It breaks. I'm sure it won't. I'm not sure at all. Scalpel, rule. Okay, that would be my leading edge. Gosh, that's heavy. So let me cut out some bits and I'll come back to you in a minute. To get the ribs, you make a little shape in a bit of plywood. I'll just cut it out with my knife. It's only 1mm ply, and all you do is something like this. I've marked on the length of the ribs by these lines. Now I've never tried this before, so let's see what happens. So you cut around there like that. This is the leading edge, of course. I think I'll mark the length off like that. You just move it down slightly like that and cut it through like that, keeping it tight to the template now, because I'm going to go into the good wood if I don't. That will be the end of that. Wing rib, there we go. Cut the leading edge and trailing edge. I'll lay it on the plan in a minute. We'll glue it up. So that's one wing rib. So I've just got 6 more to cut. Should get them out of this piece of wood. It's very clever, really, isn't it? How the bottom of one forms the top of the next. Okay, so I've cut out a spare rib as well, so we'll see how we get on here. I can't pin through the leading edge, of course, it'll just split. So you've got to do it diagonally like that. Right, now what I've done, I've cut the front edge of the rib so it's going to butt onto this. And I thought I'd cut the back edge as I need it. I might start this end actually and work my way back. That's going to go in there like that. Wow, this is going to be absolutely nothing. So I've just got very small blob on each one, and that's going to go from there to there. Just going to square that up. One there and one there. Okay, just on the last rib now. This is great. You realise how big and fat your fingers are when you're doing something like this. But I know some are made out of carbon and what have you these days, but you can't beat a little bit of scrap balsa, can you? think that's in. There. Okay, there we are then, guys. I'm going to let that set. That was fun. While that's setting, I could cut out the fuselage, which is a piece of medium balsa 3/16 by 1/16, and I've got to make I might have a bearing. I can make a bearing bend from thin paper clip, or I might have a little rubber model I can nick the contraption from. We'll have a look. You can probably see the tail plane is this diagonal shape under the wing rib, so I could have photocopied it, I suppose, and made that one up as well, but that's just a square shape. So we'll let this set off and come back to it very soon. Cheers, guys. Right, it's only been about 45 minutes, but I think I can get away with lifting this now. Soon find out, won't we? We'll soon find out, Cliff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lift it, but I'm not going to start manhandling it too much. I'm going to place it gently to one side because I want to get on with the tailplane. I love the way of cutting the wing ribs. So here we go, favourite part. Ease it off because it's going to break. It's going to break easily because the glue might not be quite dry. Probably is, but look at that. I've got some scales that go up to 100 grams. That won't even register as a gram, I wouldn't have thought. I didn't think I could make that, but there you go. Right, let's place that up there and take a look at this complicated tailplane arrangement. Okay, a couple of weights just to hold that flat. Let's put the big one on there. Little one down here. You can use coins as well if you want, if you've got some coins. So let's put this in. I'll cut it over length, trim it to size, and it's dry. No, but when you see instructions that say water down and glue, you know that these things are going to be amazingly light. Oops, right, we'll let that set. My two wing uprights are these. I may as well cut those now. And they've got an angle at the top to fit under the wing covering. So this is the rear one. Quite important actually, because this sets the angle of attack. So that's the rear one. The front one's slightly, well, it is longer. Right, that's the front one. That's the rear one. So that's the wing supports as tail as the flying surface is made. I've got to make the fuselage. Okay, piece of 3/16 by 1/16, and it's got to be, cut it to length. I've cut it there, so it's got to be from there. It's got to be sort of scooped up from that point there, and sort of a curve from about there. Gentle curve up. So I'm going to bend up some paper clips, which I could do now, or to have to make a nose bearing. Alright, I've bent the hooks. That one was a bit of fun, learnt a new technique there. But I'm just gonna, I put some super glue on there and some sawdust, so it's pretty much stuck, but I'm going to wind some cotton around anyway, just to make sure. Being very careful of this sticky out bit. I've also soaked it in CA, the sticky out bit, the tailplane support. I'm just going to put some CA on that, and then I'll cut it off afterwards. On that side. Always just take the surplus off with a tissue like that, and then just hold it away from your face while it smokes. That actually weighs, I can feel the weight of that, those little wires. It's going to go through there like that, but I just bent it around a pin, squeezed it up, so it worked quite well. Not sure I can sand this or not without it possibly breaking. Be very careful. Do you know what I love about this? You can still see the printing. That one says that Aguilo's kit on it, which is brilliant. Okay, let's get the scales out, shall we? As I suspected, that weighs nothing. And 0.1 grams going up, 0.4, and then this is the heavy bit, 0.87. So it's coming up to just shy of a gram in weight. My goodness me. A gram, 0.87. Okay. I need some washers. A couple of washers. And this center bit, which looks like it's something like, I don't think it actually says, but it looks something like about 3/16 square. There's a cross section, yeah, 3/16 square by about an inch. So let me cut that out, cut the propellers out, etc., and I'll come back and we'll have a look at it. All right, first thing, make them wet. But I'm going to elastic band these onto the side of that bottle, so I want it to be damp both sides. So let's find a rubber band. I'll leave that to dry and that will get a nice curve on it. I found some covering material for the model and I did find some yellow, and here it is. Look at that. Very, very incredibly light plastic. Weighs nothing. And I'm going to be covering the wing. Let's just offer it up for a minute before I go out. Let's be covering the wing. It's going to look amazing. That's going to be sitting on top of there once it's covered. Oh, look at that. Just smashed it, picking it up. Okay, guys, so I'm going to re-glue that. That's how delicate it is. Look at this. Broken to pieces. Okay, let's that might have happened because I didn't double glue, let it soak in, be an end grain. That could be the reason. So it could be my own silly fault. I'm going to glue that back together. We'll come back to you soon. Right, I'm going to cut out. These should be reasonably dry. We'll find out. Let's cut those apart. About an inch. Just made a rubber motor as well, guys. 6 inches of 1/16 rubber, which I've had in my from my Freeflight earlier in the year. Now that's got to go on the back. Could make it slightly smaller. I suppose it's going to make a lot of difference. It's just got to go on there like that. Now I'm going to pull it over like that and sort of touch it down like that and touch it down like that. So I'm going to glue the corners. So I'm not sure if I should be gluing it on the ribs, but let's just weigh that down a minute. Allow me to do it. Pull it tight over the leading edge because you're going to deform the aerofoil if you don't. When I say tight, I mean just enough to Let's try that then. One there, one there. Peel it back. They say 100 turns on the motor. Hopefully that's not too much tension, because that fuselage is going to be bending and twisting. Okay, let's try that. Not bad. Not bad, guys. That's good. Right, I put one on there. Stick it down to the trailing edge and the end ribs. Shall I use? Let's use that one. Just popping on the wing supports. Block of CA. I've got everything fixed up at 90 degrees here, so it's just a matter of popping it on like that. Taking out the pins, getting rid of that. Taking out those pins and those pins there. There we are. That's the wing support struts fitted. Okay, let's have a look then. It's been an hour. See if we're any closer to being dry. It is dry-ish, so let's cut off the surplus. Let's see how we get on. I think I might just leave a little bit hanging over the back, and I can stick it on the trailing edge. One thing you forgot to do, and that is to cut the dihedral in the middle before you go any further. Well, that's cut just by a crack in the centre section. So I've got to crack it just to one side, and perhaps use CA, I suppose. What was it, 2 inches under each side? To break some of the grain. This is where it all goes pear-shaped. So if I can sort of crack it. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Oh, Cliff, you're having fun, that's for sure. You don't know what you can do till you try. I've just got a little bit of glue fore and aft. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll stick it on the fuselage. It's very gentle, but I can feel a breeze. Okay, it's about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. That fuselage bending. I'm wondering if I need to put another piece of wood just on that to make it into a box to stop that happening. Anyway, let's just try letting that go. Doesn't run for very long, but then I suppose it won't. Okay, well that works as a propeller. So I can see that that's going to wind up and break. Perhaps I'm being overcautious, but it does seem to be, you know, quite flexible there, doesn't it? What are we talking about? Let's have a little hunt around here for a minute. I'm going off plan now, but you know, It has to be done, doesn't it? Maybe the piece of wood I've picked for the fuselage is just a little bit too light. Bit much on there. Right, I'll do the front one first. I can feel it's all the way down because I've got my finger pressing on the covering underneath. Good, so now I'm going to put some white glue around that joint to reinforce it. It's got the CA on it, and it's quite an important joint, that one. This is ridiculously delicate, I've got to say. Oh dear, Cliff. Well, I'm happy with that. Thanks for watching. We'll come back very soon. So let's have a look. Oops. Okay. Seems to have stuck. There's hardly any wind this morning, so I'm going to see if I can go outside and fly it. See if I can get it all on, say adding it up. 2.1. 2.63 all up. Right, let's assemble it and try some test glides. It's a pretty still morning. Very, very light wind coming from this side, so let's see what happens. 25 turns. That flies. Let's give it a few more winds. 50. Right, that's 50 turns. Okay, so I'm definitely going left, which is good. So I'll position myself in the garden accordingly. Right, the fuselage isn't bending at all under power, so that extra piece of balsa worked really well. There we go again. Ooh. That's great. Ooh, I'm going to hit that post if I'm not careful. Yeah, it's definitely got a downward twist, isn't it? I wonder if I can bend the thrust bearing up a little bit so as it's pointing uphill. Probably can. Can I do it without pliers? Okay, let's go in and make some adjustments to the thrust bearing and come back out in a minute. So we'll see if this makes any difference. I've also oiled the bearing. Excellent. Oh, it's not turning. Actually, I'm rather glad that that bush was there, because it might just have gone over the hedge. Okay, let's do that again. You can see very light wind blowing from my right hand side. That was a bit more power on that, so it was climbing, wasn't it? Oh. The gulls are loving it. They're laughing at me. It's very, very gentle, isn't it? I'd say this is a success, guys. My first
mini lightweight plane. Certainly not a windy day plane, is it? What the chances, eh? I'm going to try and follow along with my head cam now in my hand, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, I'm going to whip my hat off as soon as it's airborne. Okay, aim for the post cliff. I'm going to have one more flight and I'm going in because it's a little bit nippy. Little bit nippy it is. I'd feel happier if I had a cover for that pond. Okay, here we go. Got three birds up there watching me now. Wow, best flight yet. Okay, I'm going to stop there, guys, because I'm getting very cold, so I'm happy with that. Excellent. So here we are, fresh in from the garden. That was fun, wasn't it? I enjoyed that. I'll put a link to the little plan, not that anyone's going to want to make it, but I'll put a link there anyway, it's only right. And yeah, that was well worth it. Really quite happy with that. Learned quite a few new techniques and skills there. You really need a light touch for a start. Well, what's it weigh? 2.63 grams. 2.63 grams, so I could have 10 of these would make an ounce. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, exactly 10 of these aeroplanes would make 1 ounce. So this weighs 1/10 of an ounce. What a great little airplane. I wonder if I should put a little cutout of me in there, as I normally do. I'll keep that as a surprise, guys, for the next... What do you mean, what's this? I might be growing something, we'll see. I'll keep that as a surprise for the next video, which will be down at the Winard's Perch indoor flying session. So that's not for another 2.5 weeks. So I'll see you then for this one. Meanwhile now, back to the Mercury 4 build, which is just a little bit bigger than this one. There's the tail plane. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit the little subscribe button down below, helps the channel to grow, and check out the join button if you want to look at that as well. It starts from £1 a month. Thanks guys, bye, cheers, cheers, cheers.